Picture this. A war rages across continents. Empires are collapsing. Millions are dying. The fate of Europe hangs by a thread. And British intelligence decides to solve all of it with a dead body.
What?
Yes, a corpse.
What the fuck?
Wrapped in a uniform, equipped with forged letters, and poised to deliver false intel that would send German troops running in the wrong direction. This wasn't some ghastly prank by bored sailors. This was Operation Mincemeat, a deception so audacious that it helped change the course of World War II. And you are about to hear the entirely true, bizarre, and delightfully macabre story of how a corpse tricked Hitler's generals. To understand why Operation Mincemeat happened, we need to rewind to 1943. After years of fighting in North Africa, the Allies finally pushed Axis forces out of the desert hellscape. They were ready for the next step, conquering mainland Europe. The logical next target, Sicily, the big, strategically vital island, sitting smack in the Mediterranean. But here's the problem. Sicily was obvious, like a neon sight blinking. Attack here with flashing arrows. The German high command wasn't stupid. They knew Sicily was likely. And if the Germans reinforced Sicily before the invasion, thousands more Allied troops will die, and the campaign could falter. So the Allies needed something clever, something slightly insane. What if Hitler thought you were going somewhere else instead? Cue Operation Barclay, a whole suite of deception plans, and within it, Operation Mincemeat. Most people, when planning military operations, ask for tanks, bombers, radios, beer. The British intelligence, they ask for a dead body. Yes, a corpse, not metaphorically, a literal dead person who could carry forged documents. Surely they just accidentally found one lying around. But no, they actively sourced one. They got lucky in a sort of dystopian way. A 34-year-old Welsh homeless man, Glendower Michael, died in London after eating rat poison. He had no close family looking for him. British intelligence thought, perfect, zero emotion complications. Yeah, of course. And so, with what must have been a profoundly somber sight, they picked him. Except, and here is the wonderfully dark part, they didn't just plop him in the water and hope for the best. They gave him a new identity, one that you play straight into German expectations. You ever heard of method acting? This was method espionage. Glendower Michael became captain, acting major, William Martin, Royal Marines. Entirely fictional, zero resemblance to his former life. Except he had the appropriate dead body temperature. Montague and Charles Cholmondeley, the two British intelligence officers tasked with the comedy-slasher film version of a spy plan, didn't just slap a uniform on him and call it a day. Oh no, they gave him a photograph of his fiancée, love letters, a receipt for engagement ring, theater ticket stubs, cigarettes, car keys. They were going for graveyard chic with flair. In his pockets, the pièce de résistance, fake top-secret documents suggesting the Allies planned to invade Greece and Sardinia, with Sicily only a diversionary tactic. This was akin to sending a letter to your ex, wrapped in strategic brilliance, personal details, and misguided hope, hoping someone spies on your mail, which is exactly what happened. Transporting a corpse isn't like delivering a pizza, where the worst you get is cold cheese. First, they had to preserve the body. That was done by packing it with dry ice inside a sealed container. Basically a historic Tupperware of doom. They then loaded the container onto HMS Seraph, a British submarine. On April 29, 1943, the submarine surfaced off the coast of southern Spain near Huelva, and Major William Martin was released into the ocean to drift toward shore with all his forged personal effects intact. And then, because spycraft needs drama, the Spanish authorities didn't just toss the body in a corner. They opened his briefcase, examined every letter, read the documents, and eventually passed the contents to German intelligence. Because Spain, while neutral, had plenty of Nazi sympathizers ready to do some snooping. Fun fact, the British even tried to act urgent about getting the briefcase back, so the Germans would think, "Whoa, it must be real." The Germans didn't know how foolish they were being. Now here's where this almost comedy tragedy became straight-up military genius. Hitler, even paranoid and always willing to throw resources at a perceived threat, read William Martin's fake documents and took them very seriously. He bought the entire story. Suddenly, the Balkans and Greece looked like hotspots for Allied invasion. German bigwig planners reallocate forces, infantry divisions, armory units, torpedo boats, fighters. They all shuffled toward Greece and Sardinia. Sicily, well, they thought it was a decoy. This was exactly the effect British intelligence wanted. Because with German forces pulled away from Sicily, the real invasion force will face much lighter resistance. It's like convincing someone you are going left, then sprinting right. Allied forces invade Sicily on July 9, 1943, with overwhelming land, sea, and air power. The island defenses now thinned thanks to Hitler's enormous tactical ability. Of course, collapsed very quickly. The deception was so complete that even after the invasion began, German commanders continued sending troops away from Sicily. They were still convinced that Sicily was the fake. That's not just bad luck, it's a comedy of errors inside a tragedy of war. People often ask, did anyone know who the corpse really was? For decades, no. The man shipped off to sea as Major Martin was buried with full military honors in Huelva, Spain, treated like a fallen warrior. Meanwhile, Britain kept the secret under wraps for years. It wasn't until decades later that the real identity, Glyndŵr Michael, was publicly recognized and acknowledged of his grave. A homeless man, forgotten in life, became a posthumous hero of one of wartime espionage's greatest hits. Quite the legacy, especially considering his involvement was entirely unintentional and wholly involuntary. It's macabre, sure, but also oddly poignant. A man who died alone became a pivotal piece in a war that changed the world. Operation Mincemeat wasn't just a one-off weird idea. It was a masterclass in strategic deception. It demonstrated the war is just fought with tanks and bullets. It was fought with information and a little bit of madness. The mission showed that with patience, detail, and a flair for drama, even the most hardened enemy could be led down a garden path. Mincemeat became part of a broader deception strategy, Operation Barclay, which included fake radio chatter, fake troop movements, and other misleading operations designed to confuse Axis planners. In a war where thousands of soldiers die each day, a few pages of forged documents altered the deployment of divisions, saved countless lives, and accelerated the Allied push into Europe. All because someone got very creative with a dead body. Operation Mincemeat went on to inspire books, films, and even a Broadway musical, because nothing says historical drama like war. Spies and a dead man named William Martin who definitely never exist. The story was first made public in Ewan Montague's 1953 memoir, The Man Who Never Was, and it has fascinated historians and storytellers ever since, and probably the screenwriters of Weekend at Bernie's. This isn't just a tale of spies and corpses. It's a story about how clever thinking, even if it leans on the bizarre, can reshape history. This phrase is a cliché, but it's true. In love and war, anything goes. Even taking the body of some poor bastard and throwing into the sea. Hello my friends, my name is Mike, and welcome to Play History. If you enjoyed this video, click on the like button and subscribe the channel. And if you want to see another very uncommon story about Hitler's nephew, click on the video that's on the screen right now. And I'll wait for you on the next video. Ciao!